Now it's live. Hi, good afternoon. Um, I'm Antonio Toche. How are you? Today, we're going to share more in depth, answer any questions that anybody may have regarding fasting intermittent diet. Uh, anyways, I have here Brian McComb. He's here. Hey, Brian. Uh, Let me put it on. I didn't put him on. Hold on. There he is. Sorry. I have Brian right there. So Brian is the man that I met that got me when I talked to him, he explained to me what this is all about. This is fast. Is that how it is? Is it intermittent fast or fast intermittent? What's the word for this?
Intermittent fasting.
Intermittent fasting. All right.
Intermittent fasting.
So the way I heard about it is through my friend, a friend called Gabi. So she told me what she did, and I go, "That sounds good because what you lost in those pounds in that month sounds like very good." And I am down for losing now weight, because I exceeded what I wanted. I didn't want to be that fat, but I said, "Oh, let me talk to him." So we met on a Tuesday, and I was just open minded, listen to whatever he said, and my friend got results. He lost over 20 pounds in 30 days with this. And I go, so it's fasting, intermittent fasting. I heard a little bit about it. So now we're going to learn more exactly what this is all about. So listen, if you have any questions, type it up and I'll ask him. You're welcome to do that. So here we go. So I'll tell you my story, how I did this, and then the benefits of it so far and what really will come as a result of all of this. So Brian told me that this is no eating for 24 hours, and for a person that not used to not eating, it's kind of hard. So I was like, oh, 24, okay, and that the body wants to you can reprogram it, but it's hard to do it unless you really put your mind on it. So I decided to follow his advice. He says
But
24 hours.
Antonio, sorry to interrupt you. To
Yeah,
start though, the starting number is 16 hours. But
16
some
hours.
people, some
Oh,
people, yeah, so 16, yeah, some people. So don't get scared. Don't scare anybody away.
okay. So let
The
me go
first,
back.
the
It's
first,
16
yeah,
hours.
the first. No, some people right out of their chute they go to 24. Some people do 48. But it's the magic begins at about 16 hours. So well, yeah,
Good. Okay, good. So
just to
thanks for
clarify.
clarifying because I didn't even focus on that. I just focused on what you said, and I looked at the worst, the highest scenario. So I followed on that. Okay, so it's 16 hours, but I took it for 24 because he told me there's magic when on these things. The longer you let it go, the longer you do it. So I did it. I did it 24 hours, and he says if you really want to do it, go 48 hours. So I did it 2 days. Hard to do for a person like me, but I minor matter. I did it. Lost 4 pounds. In the next, and I was excited. I took a picture. I sent it to him. So from there on, I kept it going, kept it going. So far today, it's 15 pounds that I lost. But not only that, I feel my clothes fits a little looser. It will be looser more and more. My brain thinks better, cleaner. I mean, I like to think that I was thinking good, but somehow it just feels so much better. I'm eating once a day, so but it's not for the end of for the whole life that I'm gonna like follow the exact thing. There's ways to adjust it. So that's just some stuff that you can listen to it for a little bit. But I want to go now bring Brian in. Brian, How did you do this? I know you are a trainer. Tell me what made you start this intermittent fasting.
Well, so just a little background. I've been a personal trainer in LA for several years. I also train professional boxers. I do all the diet, nutrition, and strength conditioning for professional boxers. So I've done a lot of work on diets and nutritions and how to lose weight, how to get in really good shape, and all that. Um, and most diets, if you stick to them, you'll see results. You'll get some results. But after doing tons of research on all the different diets and everything, um, I came across intermittent fasting, and I went deep into the rabbit hole studying intermittent fasting and researching all the different benefits that you get from the fasting. And what I came to realize is that this is the best way for I took this as a diet for a large majority of the population in the United States right now. Because if you do the research, if you look at the numbers, almost half the population in the United States right now is obese. Not just overweight, but obese.
Mm-hmm.
And as we all know, obesity is not a good thing. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't look great. But all the other health issues that come and the dangers that come with and the risks that come with obesity it's a lot. We spend about $200 billion a year in our healthcare system on obesity-related issues. People that are obese end up spending about $1,500 more per year in medical costs. And the list goes on and on and on. But what I also learned from doing the research on obesity is once somebody gets to that point of obesity, and I can relate to this. I was once very overweight, and a lot of people that I work with I started to work with some people that are obese. And you start to realize that when you get to a certain point, it's almost impossible to just say, eat less and exercise more. Most people will just throw up their hands and say, I just don't have the willpower. I can't do it. I can't stop eating this shit that I eat all the time. I don't have the energy they feel defeated. And I didn't accept that. I don't accept that humans are like that. There's something else going on. And from the research that I did, I found that what's happened is 42.4% of the U.S. population is obese in 2018. That's right before quarantine. So I'm sure that's gone up. In, I think, 2008, it was something like 26%. In 1986, it was 26%.
Oh, wow.
In 76, it was 15%. So this number is going up like this. And what's driving it to go up like that? So at a biochemical level, what's driving it to go up is the first thing is insulin. Insulin levels are going through the roof, and that's creating obesity and diabetes and all these other problems. But what's driving that insulin, and I'll talk more about the effect that high levels of insulin has on our metabolism and our endocrine system, our hormones, or the other hormones. But what's driving that insulin up is sugar and processed foods, refined carbohydrates, fast food, this American industrial corporate diet that we have. That's just becoming, it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And so what happens is, I'll get into all the details about what's happening at a biochemical level later, but what's happening is it's putting people, we get stuck. We're stuck. We can't stop eating. Most of what we eat turns into fat, and our metabolism shuts down. And that's not because people are lazy or weak or anything like that. It's because at a biochemical level, it just shuts down. And there's another reaction that's occurring with the foods that are eating, sending a signal to the nucleus accumbens in our brain that's releasing dopamine, that's creating an actual addiction. So not only that, we're addicted to the foods that are poisoning us. And and what I found is that intermittent fasting is a very fast, efficient way to unpack all that, to set everything back to baseline, to get things working again as they're supposed to be working. Okay. And then once I did more research on intermittent fasting, not only do you reset everything, you reset your hormones, you reset everything back to baseline, you get things functioning properly again, but all this other magic starts to happen, like I explained to you, and we can get into that more. But so that's how I got into it. So this program that I put together and the drinks that I've made is for a specific demographic. It's primarily for. Originally, I really wanted to reach out to low-income minority communities because they've been completely overlooked by the quote-unquote health industry. Living in Hollywood and Beverly Hills, the food around here is very healthy, and the opportunity to eat healthy and be exposed to this information is much easier. But in these other communities, it's completely overlooked. And the stuff that's being sold in some of these supermarkets, to me, I think it's criminal. It should be illegal to be able to label some of this stuff food. And on top of that, these companies that are doing it, they know what they're doing. They know that they're selling poison, and they do it anyway.
So when you and I sat down here for the first time, you were telling me that our insulin levels my insulin level is probably pretty high, and that it's calling for food all the time when I'm hungry, and I'm calling for like hamburgers, pizzas, all that stuff, right? Because it's been used to
Right.
that for a very long time. And so when you told me that, okay, all right, and then you also said that the way to um, the way to I have to reprogram my mind so my body
Right.
gets reprogrammed. But it's not, of
Right.
course, not easy because it takes sacrifice and effort to do this. It's not like that. But what I liked about it is that I had a friend that already did it. I have like a proof of somebody that went through it and has been losing. And I go, okay, all right, it kind of works. So I said, okay, I'm listening. And you tell me also that a lot of stuff happens to your body. So how about if because you've done it yourself. You've done this thing for
Yeah.
longer than
Every
me, and
day.
you have a lot more.
Yeah, so I'll explain a little more about the trap that we get stuck in when we have those really high levels of insulin, just so people get a better understanding. If people are listening and they feel like they're stuck and they're overweight and they're obese and they're just stuck there, and I'll give a brief explanation as to why that is.
Sure.
So when you have really high levels of insulin, insulin has a function. It has a very important function. And like I explained to you when we first met, it's helpful to think of our bodies as like a computer, and this computer is running off it's supposed to be running off a certain software programming, and for thousands of years it was functioning really well. In fact, our ancestors survived, lives that we could only imagine how difficult they were. But it wasn't until recently that things got really easy, and with this diet, it screwed up the software programming. And so now, rather than being programmed to be tough and fit and survive, we've been reprogrammed to be fat and lazy, basically. So what we're doing is we're using our habits as a means of reprogramming that software to get back to the way it's supposed to be. So when insulin, its main job is, you can think of it as like a key to the cell in your body. It opens up the cell and allows for the blood it allows for the glucose to go into the cell, and the glucose, the fat, the proteins, whatever needs to go in there. But what happens when you have really high levels of insulin, it just puts fat, and it just starts storing fat. Basically, that's how, to make it simple, just think of when you have really high levels of insulin, that excess insulin is just going to start storing fat right off the top. So let's say a person has to eat 2,000 calories a day for like their homeostasis, meaning like that's how much they're going to burn. They're going to burn 2,000 calories, so they got to eat 2,000 calories. If you eat 2,000 calories, but you're all of a sudden your insulin is really high, right off the top, that insulin is going to take a bunch of those calories and just store them into fat. Mm-hmm. Right off the top. It doesn't get used as energy or anything. It gets stored into fat. And fat is what is the purpose of fat, is it's stored energy for later. Mm-hmm. So it's just storing fat. It's just right off the top. But then what happens is the ghrelin hormone, the hunger hormone, is telling you, well, so let's say hypothetically it takes 500 of those calories and stores it into fat. The ghrelin hormone then tells you, we still need 500 more calories. So you still feel that hunger. You still feel insatiated. So you got to eat 500 more calories. Well, then another 200 off the top of that. So now you have another 200 calorie deficit. So you keep eating and eating and eating. You're never satiated, and all that stuff gets shoved into a big portion of that food gets stored into fat right off the top. Okay. So that's bad right there. You're eating way more than you need, and a large portion of what you're eating is getting stored into fat. On top of that, we have this other hormone called leptin, and leptin is the hormone in the fat cell that sends a signal to the brain that says, we've had enough, we don't need to eat anymore, we're good, start burning it up. That's very important because that triggers the metabolism. It satiates us, it gets us to stop eating, and it turns on the metabolism. High insulin levels block that message. So not only are we eating a bunch of food, we're never satiated, a good portion of that food gets right away turned into fat, the metabolism is shut down. We're stuck. Wow. And then on top of that, what I mentioned briefly is a lot of these foods that are spiking our insulin, sugars, refined carbohydrates, processed foods, junk food, fast food, that's creating the dopamine release from our nucleus accumbens. And like any time we get dopamine release, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, social media, whatever it is, anytime you get that dopamine release, it creates an addiction. You get some dopamine release, you want some more. You get a little, so then you get it, and then it depletes. You want more, and the more you get, the less you enjoy it, and the more you want it. So you really are stuck in this trap, this biochemical trap, where you can't stop eating. Everything you eat turns into fat. Your metabolism gets shut down, and you're addicted to the food that's making you fat. It's really rough. The good news is there are several ways to lower insulin. You change your diet. You eat foods that are lower on the glycemic index, meaning they spike your insulin less. You can exercise really hard. You can do a lot of high intensity interval training, or you just don't eat. You don't have any calories at all. Intermittent fasting. So you just, for prolonged periods of time, you fast, and that insulin eventually comes back to baseline. Yeah, and that's when things start to unpack, and that's when things start to go back to normal.
So okay. Doing the fasting, it's really like you said, 16 hours, but in the beginning you told me to do 1 day, but 2 days would be great, right? And you told me that something happens, since my body's not eating what it's normally been eating, like In and Out, hamburgers and all that stuff. It's looking for it, but since it doesn't find it, it's eating the store fat, right? Or something, and it's eating stuff that it's been there for a long time, but I just haven't let it eat because I've been adding stuff all the time. It's never seeing it.
Right, exactly. So what we're doing is we are adjusting our habits to sort of send signal, like we're reprogramming the software in our bodies by adjusting our habits so that our bodies will respond to our habits. And remember, our bodies are built for survival. Mm-hmm. So we that 16-hour mark, it could, for some people it's 14, some people it's 18, whatever, but 16 is kind of the middle of the road. That's a safe place to start, 16 hours. What you're doing is when you get to that 16-hour mark, the body's going, hey, you know what, nothing's coming in, but we have to keep producing energy. We have to keep going. We have to keep this machine operating. So if nothing's coming in, let's go get that stuff we stored for later. Let's break that open, and we'll turn that on, and we'll break that into energy. It's a process called lipolysis, and it's a fancy word for burning up fat oxidation. It breaks down the triglycerides. It's this really complicated kind of process, but that's when you start burning fat. The other thing that happens is, so I start to go into all the benefits that you get in the prolonged fasting.
Go for it.
The other thing you get at 16 hours is something called gluconeogenesis. And it basically means the making of new glycogen. Because when there's no food coming in, there's no glycogen. The brain needs glycogen to function. That's the main fuel source that the brain looks for to operate. So if there's no glycogen coming in, the body will make its own glycogen, but it takes glycerol and lactate amino acids. It puts it all together, processes it through the liver and a little bit through the kidney, and it will put that back into the bloodstream and feed the brain. That's also really, that's part of that too. It pulls some of those substrates out of the fat, the adipose tissue, so it helps assist in the fat breakdown and the fat loss. That's also, Antonio, that's when you start to experience that mental clarity.
Yeah. Is
when the brain is now functioning off of its own fuel source that it makes. It's called through the Cori cycle, through gluconeogenesis. And it's something called BDNF, or brain-derived nootropic factor. That's when you get that clarity. When you no longer, like sometimes if we eat a bunch of pizza and wine and carbs and stuff, you get that brain fog. This completely wipes that brain fog out. Sometimes it takes a few days to get that. Sometimes you get it right away, but eventually your brain starts to be functioning off of that fuel source, and it feels great. You go a little bit further, sometimes maybe 18 hours, 20 hours, somewhere around there. Now the liver is automatically producing ketones and releasing ketones out into the bloodstream. I'm sure many people have heard of the keto diet, which is a very effective way to, one, lose weight, lower inflammation throughout the body. Ketones are also another very clean fuel source for the brain. Really helps trigger that brain-derived nootropic factor. But sometimes the keto diet is tricky because you really have to balance your foods, your fats, your carbs, your proteins. It's sometimes difficult to manage all that, your macros in that way. But if you do just a little bit longer fast, prolonged intermittent fast, you get those ketones right away. And you can feel that right away too. You can start to feel your face lean out and inflammation come down as soon as those ketones start pumping out of the liver. And you feel the inflammation come down throughout the body. Also, ketones is a great way to target visceral fat. And visceral fat is that fat that you see a lot of men have, is that the protruding stomach, right?
The beer belly?
That's it's the inside. It's not the subcutaneous fat. It's not the stuff you can pinch. It's the stuff that's down inside that surrounds the organs, which is it's a pretty dangerous fat to be walking around with too. It creates a lot of inflammation and a lot of other issues. You go a little bit further into the fast, 20 hours or so. Now the body's starting to also really reproduce human growth hormone. So the body makes its own human growth hormones, the same stuff that people pay a ton of money up here in like West Hollywood, Beverly Hills to get injected into their body. Your body will make it itself. Just go a little bit further into the fast. The studies have shown that up to 48 hours in a fast, the body will reproduce human growth hormone up to 500% more than normal.
Awesome.
That's quite a benefit. And the human growth hormone is very powerful. It's a very powerful hormone for maintaining youth, elasticity in the skin, protecting lean muscle mass, recovery, muscle recovery, and injury recovery, stuff like that. It's extremely powerful. And then you go a little bit further, and my favorite part of fasting that starts is something called autophagy. It's a Greek word, two Greek words, autophagy, self-eating. That's when the body. So each one of these steps, each one of these processes that gets triggered, it's a way for the body to become very resourceful, and with what it has, because nothing's coming in, so the body's going, nothing's coming in. We got to get real resourceful with what we have here.
Yeah.
So it's like it starts to make its own glycogen. It starts to burn up the stored fat. Well, now with autophagy, it's the body kicks it into high gear. It's going, okay, you know what? Nothing's coming in. We got to really go scavenge. We got to go look for stuff. So it releases these little guys called autoliposomes, and they go throughout the whole body, and they'll identify dead and dying cells that are just sitting there doing nothing, which can later actually become cancerous. And they'll either turn them back on, or they'll cut them up and splice and put the different mitochondria back together and get it functioning again. If they can't do that, they'll extract whatever it can out of it, whether it's the amino acids, vitamins, minerals, whatever. It takes whatever it can and then discards of the waste. And that, to me, that's just incredible. That's when you start, when people do long periods of fasting, you really see the skin tighten. People start to look much younger. The inflammation really starts to die. It really starts to subside. You feel good, and that's you really start leaning out at that point. But also, what's happening at a cellular level when you're going through autophagy, because the body is not just, it's not for just aesthetics, but it starts to really clean house at a cellular level. So like long-term health, trying to stay out of the hospital 10, 20 years from now, it's huge.
Brian, the body really wants to be healthy, and it's
willing
to do the work if we do good stuff, right?
If you just, my whole philosophy now on all this stuff is push the body to the limit and then just get out of the way. The body performs miracles. It really does, yeah. People ask what is fast intermittent diet or the diet. Sure, it's liquid, right? It's drinking liquids and eating, from the beginning once a day. I got Scott here says, so is this a liquid diet? He wants to know. No, okay. So it all depends too on what people are comfortable with. It depends on what you want out of it. But really, to get it started, like we said, that first marker is that 16 hours that you want to go for. Mm-hmm. Another thing too that we're doing here is we're breaking that addiction. Like I talked about earlier, we are addicted to this food that's poisoning us. So like like a heroin addict getting off heroin, they go through withdrawal symptoms. So there will be kind of some withdrawal symptoms. Now, the drinks that I've made, they helped you to get through that period, kind of like methadone for the heroin addict. So they don't, so you don't go, it's not such a shock to the system to not be getting that stuff. These drinks actually kind of trick the body into thinking that it's still getting what it's used to, but it's actually not. And you're still able to enter into that survival mode fasting period. The other thing that the drinks have, the ingredients that I carefully selected to put into the drinks. So all those benefits that I just went over, the gluconeogenesis, the autophagy, ketones, the human growth hormone production, you'll get those from just not eating or breaking a fast. But with these drinks, it enhances those benefits even more. And they I think they taste pretty good. So they enable you. They suppress the appetite as well.
So you came up with these drinks
knowing I'm drinking one right now.
You up, right? I got mine right here. Around 7, I'm gonna go eat nicely. But so it seems hard for a lot of people. I'm pretty sure it seems hard that, hey, how am I gonna do without eating? But when you realize the benefit by doing it, the benefit of dropping unnecessary weight that we carry, because I still got a long way to go. But not only that, but your body starts like fixing itself it wants to fix itself, but we just don't let it. We get on the way.
Exactly. You said it. You said it. You hit the nail on the head. Your body wants to do this, and so there will be a couple moments where that ghrelin hormone, that hunger hormone, or those it's become like a spoiled kid. And it's constantly, I want. You turn around, you tell it to shut up, and then you push through. You have one of the drinks or whatever, and you get through it. But eventually, what happens, and I'm finding with working with people, is what happens relatively quickly when you do it the right way. Mm-hmm. These withdrawal symptoms, they don't last very long. They're over pretty quick. And the beautiful thing is, on the other end of it, you don't even want the old stuff. You don't want to eat that crap anymore. You don't want to eat the junk food. You don't want the sugar. I've had so many people tell me, you know what, for 20 years, after every dinner, I'm scrambling around looking for chocolates, I don't even want it anymore. I go out to dinner and people order dessert and I just say, nah. So it's what I really wanted from this as well, and what I would love to see for people is that through this process, you take control back of your health. You take control back, or you're able to make the decisions that you want to make. And like we were discussing also earlier, I'm not saying you have to do this for the rest of your life and you have to fast every day and you can't eat this ever again. No, it's quite the opposite. In fact, once you get everything sorted and you lose the weight, you get the software reprogrammed back to the way it's supposed to be, everything's functioning properly again, go out every once in a while. Pick a night in advance, go out, get drunk, eat whatever you want. But just know what's occurring, what's happening inside of you, so that you can balance it out the next day. Or there's ways you can lead up to it, so your body's primed, ready for it. Have a blast with no guilt, and then the next day you take the proper steps to minimize the damage. And
I hear you.
That's one of the things I love about it, because I love to eat, I love to drink, but this is a way that you get to have your cake and eat it too.
So it's not like we're giving everything. Now we just drink water and eat once a day. No, for me, the reason that motivates me, and hopefully other people can check into it. If you like it, do it. We're just sharing information, so it's available. And then, they can call you. I'm gonna put your number there, Bryan, if they're interested in getting started or whatever. It's not that expensive, but health has no price, man. So Bryan McComb, I'm gonna put his number.
Well, the thing is that what I've worked out is that.
So Bryan McComb at 818-288-6585. So he's local here in the LA area. So Bryan, that's what I'm saying. Health has no price, man. What does it matter if we have this and that and you can't even walk?
If you talk about the price, how much do you spend every morning at Starbucks, and then breakfast, and then lunch, and then snacks, and that stuff adds up.
It's not that much.
And so
it's definitely doable. They can call you. It's not that much, but at the same time, it's just changing your mind to to be better, because we're all like, still have kids. We all have our jobs, and the better our mind is, the clearer our body feels. We'll get somehow you just get more confidence. You start doing more things because of it. That's what I found for me, and it's good stuff. I'm glad I met you. It's there's just different another way to do it, but I think it's a good way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. There's, like I said at the beginning, there are many different diets and exercise programs, and they pretty much, if you stick to them, they all work. Pretty much. Some are better for some people. I find that this is good for, and this is also, I like this for me personally, because as I get older, it's just much easier to manage.
Right.
I feel like I'm able to preserve my youth a little bit longer with this type of diet, with this type of.
I have a brother-in-law that
Yeah.
it's writing. He loves to eat. I don't know if you ever ate one of our dishes called lomo saltado. He loves those dishes, and I hopefully one day he gets him to do this thing, because I'm pretty sure it'll help him out. He'll probably lose a lot, once he starts. So he's the one asking that. So hey, Bryan, what do I do there? Why don't I bring Gabi? And I'll introduce Gabi. Gabi is a friend for a long time that we know each other, and that's who I met to tell me about you. And when she was telling me what she was doing, I'm going, is that true, man? Shit, I can't never done that. So I'm gonna bring her in. So let's see, Gabi. So here's my friend Gabi. Gabi, tell me what you told me. You could do in Spanish or English. It's fine, however you feel like it. Bryan speaks Spanish too.
Bryan speaks Spanish, thanks to God. And thank you very much for this invitation, and thank you very much for the whole conversation that you have with Bryan. I'm so happy to see this. It's like a dream, believe me. It's like a dream, because when I met him, I spoke. He know me that I was like my problem was that my weight.
The way, yeah.
So I told him one time, because I saw that he is a trainer. So I say, help me, please, do something. And then he showed up with this situation, and there was like a beverage and that kind of things. I said, like, okay, let's try it. So I'm so happy this is working. I lost like 24 pounds, January 22. I'm never gonna forget.
That's when you started, January 22, right?
January 22, and I now drink my coffee beverage, and then I don't eat until 7 p.m. I start with 24 hours, 24 hours fasting, and I'm really happy because I have energy.
Yeah.
I get my drinks, and I don't feel hungry. And people in the office come in front of me and show me the pizza and everything. I don't want it.
Yeah.
It is amazing. It is amazing. I was like, why happened is that? And then he explained me that it's like serotonin that give a happiness to you.
Yes.
So dopamine, serotonin.
Oh yeah, the difference between dopamine and serotonin. Dopamine is pleasure, serotonin is happiness and contentment.
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're doing is we're shifting away from looking for dopamine, and we're settled with just serotonin. Dopamine is you get it, you're like, I want more, I want more, I want more.
Yeah.
Serotonin, you get the right amount, and you're like, I'm good.
It's good.
Exactly. And understood how it's happening, that people put in front of me French fries, put in front of me hamburgers, put in front of me pizza, and I prefer my salad. And I ran for God to my home to make a salad. It was like and then I make my protein and nuts. And I researched for nutrition about a long time ago, but I think that these beverages are a miracle.
So this way, it helped you a lot, right? Because you lost, and then when people seeing that, you also have family members that was checking, and who's the next person in your family that said, "Let me give it a shot." Your mom, right, or something like that.
My mom looked at me and they say, "Do you think they're gonna work for me?" And then I asked to Bryan and say, Bryan, could you think? He said, yes, we can do that. So she started. And then she started to lose weight, and I never saw that in my mom. It's because she come in 2004. No, I come in 2004. She come in 1997. She started getting weight, like obesity, like crazy.
That's right.
Now she told me now she was in 220 before met Bryan. Then she lost 20 pounds, but in 6 months or 1 year, 20 pounds. And then now she's in 193.
That's good. That's a lot of pounds. That's good, and she's gonna keep losing more.
My dad started yesterday, and I was like a so nice surprise for me when he checked his blood, and he checked the blood pressure, and it's 149 yesterday, and today that he started is 135.
Okay.
And the glucose that he had diabetes, so his glucose was in 49, and now it's 115. So
That's
at the
cool.
morning, I want to, when we finish this interview with you, you're gonna have a meeting with him. He's gonna appreciate gonna say thank you to Bryan.
I'm happy for your dad. Your
I'm
dad's getting better, healthier, and at a certain time he'll have less medication he needs to take because he's cleaning his stuff inside, which is probably what we are doing.
To hear my dad that he said, you know what? When I was sitting, I tried to be up and I couldn't. Now look at me. And they made one day. It was like crazy. He made a fasting of 20 hours. He had diabetes. It was crazy, but awesome. And that's like the benefits and everything. So it is awesome.
That's cool. All right. Well, thank you for introducing me to him. And, and it's great. It's great. So I'm going to go back to Bryan so he can continue and sharing more stuff.
Thank you for listening to me and put attention in the things that I shared to you. And I know that you're going to do a good job because you do a good job as well. Thank you, Bryan. Thank you very much for.
Thank God, and thank both of you too. I'm really impressed and proud of both of you. How much you both right out of the chute, both of you I was really impressed how much you dedicated yourself to this, and it really makes me happy to see the results that you guys are both having. It's really awesome, and I'm glad that we're sharing it with more people because I really want to see this. I would like for us all to try to do something to help each other get healthier.
Yeah,
I mean, we're a sick country right now, and it's driven by dopamine, and it's like I think we would all be better off if we help one another to get healthy. I mean, yeah.
I give it this advice to the people and all the people that I give the contact to Bryan. All the people is wasting losing pounds, and it's like crazy. It is like everybody say thank you, thanks for my health.
Yeah. My uncle just texted me this morning. I started him on this. It'll be 2 weeks on Monday. He lost 18 pounds. And it's not even 2 weeks. And he texted me this the other day. He said,
we celebrate
with the scale, and he said, "Is this possible? Is this right? Is this possible? Is this right?" I said, "Yeah, good job."
Hey,
yeah,
Rock was good, man. He motivates me too when I hear what he's doing and with Gabi. So it's just good stuff, Just
it's like what you said, Antonio. The body wants to do this. It wants to do this. You just have to get out of the way and let the body do its thing.
Let it rebuild itself, man.
It wants to be healthy. Yeah.
A little tips that people have to know, because it is a process. Is a path that you have to go. It is like you are like in a place that you don't know, but Bryan show you the path, you the way.
Yeah.
He tell you.
I try to. Right. It's a 2-week program, and for the first 2 weeks, I'm there for you. Like I'm through the texting and phone calls. I'm walking you through it, trying to give you as much of the education as I can, so that you understand the process of what's happening to you and the transformation that you're making, the transition that you're making. And my goal is that after the 2 weeks, that's it. You don't need me. You really you develop that relationship and understanding with your body that you can keep it going. And it's one of those diets too that you get the weight off and that's it. that's your new weight.
Yeah.
You know, it's not one where you lose a bunch of weight and you gain it all back. That's not what this is at all.
You kind of. I think it's great. You know, I love sugar, and I got this chocolate here from Peru that I had it for a long time. It's been sitting on my desk for a long time. I just give it away until it's gone. But before I would eat one almost every day. I love sweets.
Yeah.
But right now it's been good because my mind gets stronger, and I go, okay, no sugar for whatever, 7 days or whatever days, 10 days, you know. So it's okay. I mean, every now and then when I'll have it, but not right now.
One thing for both of you to know, and for everyone else to know, is that eventually, soon for both of you, and then once you get everything going, you really get the weight down and you get everything working really well. Every once in a while, then a cheat meal, a quote unquote cheat meal, actually what it does, it can't be, horrible, but you can go out and you can eat a bunch of, maybe pasta or potatoes and
pizza, whatever.
Yeah. And what that actually will do, if you've sort of been refraining from eating a lot of caloric restriction, or you've been really on point with your diet and you get some exercise in, then you throw in a cheat meal, that fires up that leptin hormone that we talked about, because insulin has been so low. So it'll fire up the leptin hormone, and it will in turn crank up the metabolism even more.
Oh.
So not only does a cheat meal okay once in a while, actually it's like throwing more fuel on the fire. It boosts it even more. Like when I'm training fighters for a fight, you're throwing a bunch of food at them, like right before sparring or strength conditioning or workout or sprints or something. You pack them full of food right before it, and then right after it, and then you pull it out. They go, a couple of days, whatever, in a real lean diet and not much food, and then you throw a bunch of food, and all that does is it keeps burning that fire. That fire is going like crazy, so they're burning tons of calories all the time.
Oh, that's
kind of down the road. That's a little more complicated, but you start to time your meals so that you can still eat a bunch of the meals you love, and if you time it at the right time, it's just building a bigger, stronger metabolism.
Yeah. So, for example, Bryan, that's great, because with that thing, that leads me to because I mentioned to you at the end of the month, I'm going to go out for a few days to out of the area. And I know I'm gonna eat good and all that stuff, but I'm gonna prepare for that. So when I come back, I'll just keep going what I'm doing. But there's a pause button that hit there. But it's almost a month from now, so there's a time that I can still keep my mind used to it and drop more weight. And then it won't affect me. It'll be fine.
100%. Well, two things. One, I'll walk you through that. I'll teach you how to do that. Exactly how to do that. That's one. Two, you're going to Peru.
Yes.
You're far away from the American industrial corporate diet, so you're you're safe over there. It's really
it's a lot of organic food, and it's cheap.
No, I think we're lucky to live in one of the greatest countries in the world, but our food is just garbage.
It's true. It's true. So let's talk about your program, and Gabi, you can stay because you know the whole thing. So basically, you give me these bottles. I'm gonna bring them. So you can say something. I'm gonna bring these bottles. I'm gonna show it to them.
Show the bottles. Show the bottles and teach to the people how easy it is.
So look, this is what I did. This is basically what I have. This is like a coffee flavor one, and this is like it tastes like Gatorade. Basically. So that was like my whole meal. When I started, and pretty much for 2 days. But I knew that I had to do that for 2 days to make it more impactful for me, based on what you told me, Bryan. And it definitely made an impact by holding off more on just not eating. Let the body fight itself inside and let them do whatever it's got to do inside, So what would a customer, because they want to know, like, what is the cost? What do you do? And then the follow-up, all these things. Can you tell them, like, if you're in front of them,
Yeah. So, it's 2 weeks for $300. It's only $300 for 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks of beverages, and you get constant coaching, support, education from me, where I'm checking in on you several times a day. Yes. And I'm there for any questions that you have, if you're experiencing anything or any questions, or you can ask me anytime, and I'll help you through any situation. And if we need to make, we kind of have a plan, but if we have to make an audible, if we have to make an adjustment, I'll help you make that adjustment so that we stay on track and that we don't lose anything. I help you pick out your foods, the diets. The first 2 weeks it's not, I'm not going to tell you you have to eat this or that. It's more about just don't eat this, or this kind of thing. The first 2 weeks I wanted a very easy, simple transition. And I set out certain goals and certain rules, protocols that are very doable. And if you do them all, the results are fantastic. And then if you wish to continue, some people will do the 2 weeks and they got it. They're good. They just keep coming back to buy more drinks. Other people will actually, they want to take it to the next level. Like, hey, can you coach me? Can we do more training? Can we do more exercising? I want to really take it up to the next level. I feel great. So we can just keep it as simple as the timing of the meals and the minimal cardio. Oh, that's the other thing too, is that each day you just have a little bit of cardio. That's it.
Yeah.
But it's at a specific time.
So
and I'll help you.
Okay. So when we sat down, you gave me the bag full of bottles for like 2 weeks. I pretty much downed it in 1 week because, I was kind of hungry, just drinking more, and it didn't hurt to do it. It just helped me out more. And then at the same time, you did say that do a little bit of exercise. 30 minutes is good, but if you do a little more, it's better. Right. So I started walking an hour every other day, and it definitely makes everything fight more or get better inside. So yeah, I mean, look at $300. I mean, I go eat every day, whatever, you eat anything for everything's $15-20, whatever you buy for yourself. So this is like the whole day you spend like $20, if you do this. But more than that, it's for your health. So either you do it with Bryan, which definitely I recommend it, or whatever you like. He can definitely teach you to learn about your body, to learn about how you get better, and you have access to him. You can call him or text him. But to me, it works. And at the end result, Bryan, I will get to wherever weight I want. There'll be days that I need to do things, go away and eat. I can still do it, and it still maintain my body at the weight that I want to be at. Right.
And I would say too that if you want to do it with me and my drinks and help, great. If not, if you're not able to for whatever reason, there's tons of information online. You can find it. Just go on YouTube or Google or anywhere, and there's a lot of good information. You can just read about it yourself, find out what the benefits are, and it's the information's out there. I didn't uncover some secret. I mean, this stuff is out there. So this information is out there, and it's very powerful. It's simple, but it's very powerful, and I think it benefits anybody.
So one of the things also that you mentioned, Bryan, is that let's make the kids aware of this too. Like around, because man, when I was a kid, I wasn't fat, man. It was back in the days, in the 80s. We're all skinny because we didn't eat all what we do now. It's like all kinds of junk. But now a lot of the youngsters, they're so obese, and it's sad to see that because down the road they're gonna be on medication. So we can help them out, or you can help them out by maybe if anybody knows a place that
love to work with kids.
His message. Go ahead, Bryan.
What?
No, you can. I'm saying that you can share your message to the youngsters, so they can hear it too.
Yeah, I'd love to. Kids. I'd love to work with kids with this and the diet and help them. I was a fat kid.
Oh wow.
I was a fat kid. Yeah, but I know. Yeah, I was a fat kid. I have the pictures to prove it. But I think kids should feel, everybody should enjoy themselves within their own body. They should enjoy that feeling of vibrance and athleticism and health. Everybody, it's part of.
Hey, Bryan, can you say some of this thing in Spanish? Because there's some people that talk Spanish. Maybe te voy a preguntar en español. Bryan, lo que estás haciendo es un tipo de dieta de líquidos que te ayuda a que tu cuerpo se desarrolle mejor. Y ahí tenemos a Gabi, que es un ejemplo de eso, y puedes explicarle un poquito en español a la gente de qué se trata, y yo voy a poner tu teléfono para que te llamen y si están interesados en
Antonio, ponle mi teléfono también.
el de Gabi también lo va a poner, los dos.
Bryan, I'm gonna put my phone number in case you want to contact you, okay? So
Yeah, los dos. Pero Bryan, di algo de lo que tu sistema.
Ya, ok, pero entonces este programa es como es un modo para la gente para tomar control de la salud. No es solo por el peso, no es solo por el peso, también es por toda la salud. Es intermittent fasting, ¿cómo se dice en español?
El ayuno intermitente. Ayuno intermitente.
Intermittent, ya. Es un modo, es mágica, es como el cuerpo puede hacer milagros. Si empujamos el cuerpo al punto y después déjalo para hacer la mágica. En nuestra cultura ahora en Estados Unidos, la comida es mierda, no es comida, es como, es poison. Es poison y estamos enfermos, estamos gordos y enfermos y no es la culpa de la gente. Yo creo que no es la culpa de la gente, es la culpa de las corporaciones, de los pendejos, que ellos saben.
Sí.
Ellos saben que venden azúcar y la comida
procesada.
¿Cómo se dice? Proceso.
Claro.
No es natural por nuestro cuerpo y también es cuando el cuerpo está enfermo, el mente está enfermo, es malo por el alma y todo. Y este programa es un modo para ayudar el cuerpo, el mente y también el alma. Y
No, está perfecto.
Me gustaría mucho que la gente, o sea, nosotros como latinos venimos de una cultura donde se come mucha papa, mucho arroz, tenemos mucho carbohidrato en nuestra comida desde niños. Nos alimentamos comiendo papa, comiendo arroz, comiendo pan. Sin pan no podemos vivir. Y no es verdad. Sí se puede vivir sin pan, sí se puede vivir sin arroz, sí se puede vivir sin papa, sí se puede. Entonces, creo yo que si no hubiera habido las bebidas del Bryan, tal vez no me hubiera lanzado, porque las bebidas tienen lo que necesito para salir adelante. Y bueno, está comprobado que funciona y me gustaría mucho que la gente latina se una a cambiar de hábito alimenticio para poder no tener diabetes, no tener alta, no... ¿Estás ahí? Ok.
Sí, aquí estamos.
No tener presión alta, problemas cardiovasculares, infartos, tantas enfermedades, muchas enfermedades que con la salud lograríamos, ¿no? El mismo cáncer, o sea, son células que se pueden generar, imagínate, o sea, somos una máquina de milagrosa, somos una máquina milagrosa.
El cuerpo está ahí listo para mejorarnos.
¿Sabes qué? Lo que yo conseguí y lo que encontré y lo que te ha pasado a ti, le pasó a mi mamá, le pasó a mis amigos que les he recomendado, todas las personas tienen una autoestima mejor, pueden estar mejor, tienen más objetivos, tienen más metas, es como maravilloso, es increíble.
Sí. Una cosa, Gabi, dijiste que en la dieta latina hay mucho papa, arroz y muchos carbohidratos, pero muchos carbohidratos está bien si está moviendo mucho, si tiene mucho ejercicio.
Eso fue lo que me explicaste alguna vez.
Porque glycogen, carbohydrates, es tan necesario. Si está moviendo mucho, corriendo mucho y es muy...
Atlético. Si eres muy atlético,
sí,
eso.
atlético, si están moviendo mucho y los carbohydrates son buenas. Pero si estás sentando a una mesa o a la sofá todo el día y
En la oficina.
jugando video games o solo imaginando en un truck o carro todo el día, los carbohydrates no son necesarios. No son necesarios y
sí.
si estamos comiendo mucho, el
insulin, claro,
anda arriba de
insulina.
Exactamente. Dijiste algo ahorita, Bryan, que mucho más de la juventud engordan bastante porque están en su casa, no hacen ejercicio, no están comiendo junk food cada rato y ese es otro factor porque se engordan mucho. Ya no hacen el ejercicio como antes hacíamos. Pero yo creo que pues enseñándoles lo que tú sabes, ahí vamos a ver cómo conectamos con los jóvenes. Estoy seguro que vamos a poder hacer eso. Y también a cualquier persona adulta, obviamente, que queremos mejorar nuestra salud. El producto, lo que Bryan no ha descubierto una magia, es algo que lo ha hecho en un sistema que pues a mí me trabajó, a Gabi le trabajó, hemos bajado de peso, nos sentimos mejor, estamos poco a poco mejorando nuestra salud y yo se lo recomiendo. Yo particularmente como 10 días he perdido 15 libras. Obviamente no sé si va a ser así cada rato, pero voy a seguir haciendo porque sé que voy a seguir bajando y voy a sentirme mejor. Ya me siento, pues, la ropa me queda más suelta. Y a Gabi igualmente le está pasando a personas que ya conoce, se han mejorado y mucho con la ayuda de Bryan, porque él te chequea, te hace tu follow-up y todas esas cosas. Él te está entrenando al mismo tiempo que estás bajando. Con el propósito que Bryan dijo que te va a enseñar para que tú después solo lo hagas. Right, Bryan?
Exacto. Él te enseña a pescar.
Así exacto, fue como... no te ha pescado, te va a enseñar a pescar para que tú después lo hagas.
Exactamente.
So,
entonces, no te
yeah, so coming back, what would you, like, if you do like a summary of everything, Bryan, whatever time you need to do it, but let's do a summary of this whole thing so people can get a capsule of what you do, and then, we can wrap it up.
Like for like a day? Like
no, the capsule of this whole thing that you're helping people with intermittent fasting. The great thing about it, what you get out of it,
recap.
A recap. There you go.
Recap.
Sorry, that was the word.
Okay, yeah. So it's from I think most people in America, we on some level of weight and diet and health, we're stuck. We're stuck in some biochemical trap because our hormones are all out of whack because of the food that we are presented with in America. And we're trapped. It's hard to get out of that trap. Most people feel at some degree that they're stuck they have their goal and they're stuck. They can't quite get past the plateau, or they're stuck being obese, whatever it is. Intermittent fasting is a phenomenal way to just reset everything, get everything back to baseline so it's functioning properly, and then you can move forward from there. Then you can start to really attack your goals. Then you can start to really lose weight. You can start to take your athleticism to the next level, your weight loss to the next level. That's one aspect of it. And then on top of that, like the not even just a cherry on top, it's more than a cherry on top. Once you start pushing your body further into the fast, and there's ways to again manipulate the programming, the software of your body computer. All this other magic starts to happen. The stuff that's in it. The great news is, like, you just don't eat. It's free. It's pretty much free. I mean, if you want help, I'll help you. But beyond that, it becomes free. And this is the stuff that you would spend thousands of dollars in West Hollywood or Beverly Hills to have some endocrinologist pump you full of this stuff, or they do some detox on you. They stick you full of these hormones. Your body will do it itself for the most part. And the great thing about that too is, what I love about this is, when you do it this way, you own it. You really own it. You've done it yourself. You own it. You understand it. You've developed a relationship, a communication with your body. You started to dictate to your body what you want. Your body responds, and you're able to listen to your body. You develop a relationship with your body, and you take back control of your health.
There you go.
It's a lot of fun. It's rewarding, and it's everlasting. You carry this on. It's great. Much less visits to the hospital. That you no longer have to go see the doctor all the time. You will have to spend a little extra money on buying new clothes though, because you're gonna lose some weight.
That's nice.
That's true.
You gotta buy new clothes, right? Yeah. So
I check my
that's
credit card.
That's gonna cost you money.
I check my credit card for November and October, and that's crazy.
There you go. Yeah.
Crazy.
Right.
I spend a lot of money in restaurants.
There you go.
A lot of money. Now is nothing. I save a lot of money. Crazy.
Yeah.
Bryan, I want to thank you for like meeting you, and you still gonna keep working together and all that stuff, so I can keep dropping weight and keep getting better shape. But I want to thank you for being available to do this. I'm gonna share my Facebook to other friends. I hope my friends can share it, and learn about what this intermittent fasting that's been around for a while, forever. Who knows? But it's just another way to be aware of it, that it is available. Yeah. You can do it on your own, Google it, whatever. Or if you want to make it a little bit easier, talk to Bryan, English. Talk to Gabi in Spanish. So I'll put their numbers there if you're interested. I think it's good, and perhaps one of these days, if enough people want to do it and want to come over, maybe to the office or to the restaurant, I can have a room there and we can do it there in person if somebody has more questions. But I think you have some information there. There's more to learn, but I want Bryan, thank you, and Gabi too.
Thanks to Bryan, because
thank you both. Yeah,
you're the man. Thank you very much for everything that you do for us. We really appreciate.
So I'm gonna put his number on the bottom, like I said, for Bryan in English, and then for Gabi in Spanish. If you want to talk to him in Spanish, Bryan can also talk Spanish, but whatever you choose. So I'm gonna end it right now. But hold on, Gabi and Bryan, after I end it.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Toño. Thank you.